Hi, I'm here with Steve, and he's another author in We Are Made of Love. We're so excited to share this book with you on February 2nd, 2022. It is a vulnerable and heartfelt collection that'll help restore your faith in humanity and remind you of the true reason we're all here, transcending all odds through love, connected as one with each other, made of love. And I'm going to take a second and read you Steve's bio. Steve is an IT applications manager at a mortgage bank in Kitchener, Ontario. When he's not working, he can be found journal writing, participating in the year's Nanowrimo, being an amateur storyteller, and spending time with his family. You can check out Steven's blog at madmanwithajournal.com, and all of that information will also be in the description below the video. Stephen wrote Run, Don't Walk, which is in the synchronistic meetings chapter, When They Were Young, which is in the Love Beyond Sight chapter, and When You Love, which is in the first chapter, which is Understanding Love. So he's here today to talk about a few of the pieces and a little bit about himself. So thank you, Steve, for being here with us.
Thanks for having me, Andy. It's good to be here.
Did you want to tell us, did you have a piece that you wanted to start with, or did you want to just start with Run, Don't Walk and tell us how you came about that one? I know that one you ended up writing a little bit in one of the writing workshops that we ran too.
Yeah, and that's the easiest one to explain, I think. I'm a half marathon runner. I've done 3 half marathons now, and this was a recounting of my third and final marathon. But it was also my hardest marathon, or sorry, half marathon to run. And the kindness of one person who saw in that last kilometer, after you've done 20 kilometers, there's only a kilometer or less left, and saw I was struggling and helped me find the energy somewhere inside me to pull myself together and run the last, half kilometer. It's so special because that last kilometer is also where in a half marathon, everybody who is either finished the race or is there to watch people, they're all lining the road on either side. And so as you come around the corner, it was in Burlington, called the Chile Half Marathon. All these people are cheering you on. But you also have in your head, oh my gosh, I've got to keep running. Don't fall apart. Don't fall over. Don't be sick. Just get to the end. And to have this stranger, this person who saw me struggling, was such a help and so powerful to get me across the finish line. Yeah.
Well, and then it's such a perfectly fitting story for the book too, just about the connection and kindness. And I'm really grateful that you were able to connect with that at the writing workshop and be able to have that come out to be a piece in the book, because it ended up adding something very special. And in the synchronistic meetings chapter as well, like there's all of these, these connections, these sort of random connections that, just like little angels that are sent to help us along our way, right? So I'm really glad that you could submit that one. And how about the when they were young piece that's in the Love Beyond Sight chapter? How did you come about that one?
When They Were Young started with a prompt from a book by poet Ian S. Thomas, and he has this fantastic poetry workbook called I'm Incomplete Without You. And so I believe the beginning of it was when they were young, and then it just asks you to go from there. And most of the idea that came with that piece was thinking of my wife, and we had met when we were young, and some of the things that we've been through together, and some of the dreams we had when we were younger, and even though they did not all work out exactly the way we wanted, traveling the world doing archaeological digs, the life that we've ended up with, and we're still together, is still magical in its own way. The love of through the years has persisted. Yeah.
That's so inspiring and so amazing. I'm glad that you could include that one too. It was that chapter is all about sort of, the beyond love, beyond what you can see, and that magical inner interconnection and whatever. And so it was beautiful, and I was pretty sure that was what had inspired you for that one. So that's really cool that was able to be included too. And it's a nice shorter piece but has huge impact, I find. So you're very good with making every word count, and I really admire that about your writing style. So
Thank you. Thank you very much.
the you also have a piece called When You Love, and that's in the very first chapter about understanding love.
Mhm.
And did you want to tell us a little bit about that piece?
Yeah, I am not being paid by EMS Thomas, but that quote or that piece also came from that same book, and it just was that repeating, um, all about love and whatever came to your mind. I think it's a piece that I had less of an idea of a situation or of any story in my life, and it was just reflections on love, and it really really struck me, and I hope people enjoy it. It was a personal one that I don't know. I was worried about making a connection, um, but yeah, I just love the way it turned out.
Well, and the neat thing is too is that there's another piece that's paired right next to it that from another author that is very similar, but from a completely different viewpoint. And you both are talking about like similar subject matter, and so it's really neat having the two pieces next to each other. So if you feel that you weren't really sure if it could fit into the book, there was at least one other piece that almost mirrored it. So like that, and that seemed to happen with quite a few of the pieces that we got to have two very similar topics, but from like everybody writes with such a unique perspective and a unique style of their own. And so getting to see the same topic written about in two different ways is I think a really really neat way to connect to the author and to the pieces and the words. And so it just creates such a beautiful picture too. So thank you for submitting that one as well.
You're welcome.
And you want to tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do? And I know I read a little bit in the bio, but did you want to expand on it a little bit more?
Sure. Yeah, I am an IT guy. I won't spend too much time talking about that. My love really is with writing. I have been journal writing now for over 30 years. And it's really been over the last 5 that I've been focusing on actually writing fiction and thinking of turning some of my journal entries into personal essays.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's really exciting. Also, over the last 10 years, something dear to my heart, it was storytelling. And I encountered the Story Barn in Baden, Ontario, um, about 15 years ago. And what a magical place it was to listen to stories. They have an open storytelling, just like they have open mic at different places. And it really sparked story in me and ways of telling stories and interacting with people. So that's something that's very dear to my heart. I do get out a few times a year at different places to tell stories, and it's so exciting. It's just so nice. Yeah.
Well, I know when you've shared some of your story ideas with me, I get taken to this imaginative place because you have such a way of expressing the details of things. And like I would really love to read more of your stuff. I know that you enjoy doing Nanowrimo too, which is such a fun challenge. And for anybody who hasn't ever heard of that, it's a competition in November where you challenge yourself to write 50,000 words in a month of a story. So like you get sort of a rough draft, a rough idea of things and whatever. And it's I always find it super fun to follow along on Stephen's journey of NaNoWriMo and just see his progress with things and whatever, and cheer for him when he posts the winning banner and the winning badge and whatever. And it's a fun thing because really you're competing against yourself, and it's just a way to push your creativity. Because I know as writers we can really get stuck in overthinking and fussing about things and whatever. And the process that I teach in my writing workshops helps you to get out of your own way so that you can just let the words flow. And then Nano gives you sort of like a challenge point of so that you can you can know where you're going, at least with things a little bit. How many words a day is it that is sort of like what you schedule along?
In order to reach the end to 50,000, they say 1,667 words a day.
Nice.
My journey this year was crazy. I wrote for the first 2 days. I took a week off. I think out of the 30 days, I ended up writing 15 of them. It was my most uncertain year, and it's given me, yeah, a very rough draft of something that I'm very excited to explore in the future.
That's cool. And that's always, like we were mentioning before we started recording, is, it's much easier to edit something than like that you can have, I think the phrase is, you shovel sand into the sandbox so that one day you can make castles, right?
That's right. That's right.
And so it's, as long as you have something on the page, then you can make something with it. Whereas if you're just staring at the blank page, that can be a writer's worst nightmare. So it is something that I love following along on your journey with. And how many years have you been doing it, Stephen?
5. This was
Oh,
my 5th year.
that's awesome.
And that was, I had very little of an idea of what I was going to write this year. But I was determined to write something because it was my 5th time, giving it a try, my 5th year in a row.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, a little tiny glimpse of an idea became something much bigger. And then I'm sure by the time I go back and edit it down, it'll be something smaller, something in between.
Well, I know I've tried to start a few times and I haven't been able to keep it up. I've been more along the lines in April of National Poetry Month, like National Poetry Writing Month. I get a little bit more successful with that one than writing for the Nanowrimo. So it's awesome, and cheers to you for being able to do that. So yeah. If people want to connect with you, to pre-order any books or to like share any thoughts or feedback about your pieces, how can they get a hold of you?
My email address is journalmadman@gmail.com. I do have a blog site. I will admit, I don't know right now if there's a contact page. It's still in its infancy. So journalmadman@gmail.com is probably the best way.
Well, and I'll include that in the description and whatever as well, and so people can connect with you. And now, if you had one takeaway that you had wanted people to remember or an insight to share, what would you want to share with people?
I think it's related to that first story, Run, Don't Walk. If you see someone struggling and you have the capacity, the ability, the time to help them out, I encourage you to do so. Because I think you never know what kind of difference you're going to make. And if you try to make a positive difference, I think it can really help. I don't even know if this person would remember me. I didn't get her name, didn't get any information. But she's made a big impact on me because she helped me through that last torturous kilometer of the race. So absolutely.
Well, I'm sure you probably inspired her as well, that you were able to keep going when she saw that you were struggling too. And so it'd be a synchronistic meeting if she was seeing the video or came across the book or something like that. We never know what's going to happen, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but yeah, and that's the one of the pieces that I had in the book was about your ripple effect, right? You never know, a little, like something that's little to you could end up making the entire difference of a day to somebody else, right?
That's right. That's right.
It's like that woman helping you has stuck with you for this long, right? And and that has helped you to carry it forward and whatever too. So we're only one kind action away from doing something good, right? So
yeah, I agree.
thank you so much for joining me here today for this interview and for participating in the book. I'm so excited to have you part of it. Again, We're All Made of Love, and we're going to be releasing it February 2nd, 2022. And we would love for you to be able to join us in the excitement and get your copy then and check out Steve's pieces then. Thank you so much. Thank you, Steve, for being here.
Andy, thank you so much for including me and for talking to me today. Thanks so much.
Have a great day.
You too.